The would be podcast.
Hi, I'm Natty Cupcakes.
And I am Jessica, and we are the Would-Be Podcasters.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the growing concern in Austin that there may be someone who is a
Predatory
predatory
or
killer. I mean, that's like the best way to describe it because it seems like it's a pattern of the type of people who have been found unalive in Lady Bird Lake within the past 2 years. We've now reached double digits.
Right.
And, people are starting to put two and two together, and the concerns are growing because this is happening very frequently. And most of these people have a few things in common, which are
age.
their age, yeah.
Their gender, mainly, most of them are male between the ages of 20 and 40.
And then the other thing was they all started out their night at Rainy Street, which is a place where there's a lot of clubs, there's some hotels, there's some high rises, it gets a lot of traffic.
Right.
I know at one point I think they were just going to kind of close Rainy Street off because of it's really hard to drive through with all the people walking in the street and everything.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
I don't know if it is yet or not, but that was like one of the proposed ideas because like if you've ever gone down there or had to drive through there at night, it's like really busy. There's so many people, and yeah, people are drunk and just want to cross the street wherever they want to. It's a hot mess.
So mainly Rainy Street is used for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, it's nightlife.
Right. And a lot of the victims start off at restaurants or bars or both, and then tend to separate themselves from their group and unfortunately are then found either the next day or a week later.
Unalive, floating. They're floating. Like, because I feel like, there are a few people that, tried to help. Is like, because you said somebody was
Well,
they found somebody who was in distress, and by the time they got help to this person, they were no longer alive. So
right. So one of the gentlemen was seen at the bank of Lady Bird, and he was regurgitating, if you will. And the person that saw them went back to their hotel, I think, and called 911. But by then it was too late, unfortunately.
yeah. So yeah, but like everybody, like the one person that did survive this whole thing, they updated that
Oh, that
that
what was his name?
but he woke up like a week later because he was in a
Yes.
coma.
He was a medical induced coma, right? He
Yeah.
was from Boston, came down for a bachelor party, and he was with a group of people. He had first hit up a restaurant and then they went out to a bar. He claims that he was not drinking very heavily, but still, unfortunately, he drank a beer. He was talking to two females, and then he was found hours later in a ravine. And then they had to put him in a medical induced coma for a week.
Yeah.
And he broke several, like, his back is like severely messed up. It's like several vertebrae that are
Yeah. So it's like he suffered some trauma. He was also drugged.
right. He did have
So yeah, and he's just right, like lucky to be alive
very
because a
much so
lot of other victims did not, you know, yeah,
didn't survive,
didn't survive
unfortunately.
what happened. But then it just comes to the idea that everybody has been drugged in some way, and
Well,
it's
not
like
everybody. So that's the theory. So the theory is, yeah, the theory is, or one of the theories is that these gentlemen are in a group and somebody spots them and are like, okay, we're
tonight you,
yeah, and then roofies them, and then your boyfriend was talking about how he had been roofied
Mhm.
and how he didn't know what was going on. He fell down some stairs and he doesn't recall anything.
Granted, this was in Atlanta,
Yes.
not
No,
not
not in
in
Austin.
Austin.
No.
But yeah, it's like guys get roofied too. And I mean,
Right.
I've heard this story from like a lot of males as well as,
Which I
females.
think is crazy. I've never heard of a guy being roofied.
I've heard a few of them. And sometimes, like with Brandon's situation, he was like, I set my drink down.
Yes.
And it's just like, because
Don't do that.
they don't have the same rules that we do. Like as females, when we go out, that is one of the rules. It's like,
Yes.
don't put your drink down. Don't take drinks from strangers. Like I am ADHD as fuck, so I will sit my drink down, and that's it. It's just gone. It's gone for the night.
Mhm.
It's gone. Like what happened to your drink? I don't know. I forgot where I put it. I'm gonna go get another one, and that's usually how I just get fucked up. But yeah. Like that's my rule. Like if I lost it, I don't need to go retrieve it because I don't it's gone now. That's it. It's just
Okay, so let's
charge it
go
to the
over
game.
let's let's go over golden rules for females, okay? We all have been there. We've gone done girl trips or we all went out with a bunch of girls. We always say the same thing, right? Things that have been drilled in our head since our ability to go out. Okay, one, who you go with is who you leave with, right? It
Unless you safely are trying to get into an Uber and go home, because let's
right,
say if people are going too hard,
right.
and because yeah, just don't
So
like ditch somebody and leave them.
but I don't think these people really ditched them. I think they just kind of wandered off. And it was just, I think in our culture for guys, it's normal. Oh, okay, well, he's probably just hooking up with some random chick or whatever. It's more, or
Yeah,
he's trying to, or
yeah.
what have you, or
We
maybe
just
he
kind
just
of
like
write it
left.
off as like,
Yeah.
oh, he'll be fine because he's
But
a dude.
right. But if that was a female, we'd be like, oh my God, we would start freaking out, calling them, trying to figure out where they are, make sure they're safe. But I feel like possibly we don't do the same thing in guy groups. I don't know. We're not guys.
Yeah, exactly.
If
We're
you,
not dudes, but
right, if you guys would like put in the comments, what do you do whenever you guys go out? Literally, guys, go out. Like, do y'all have like a game plan? Or you're just like, I'm getting white girl wasted. I mean, I need to know
right?
these
It's
things.
like, do you have a plan if you lost somebody? Like, how
Is there a
long?
meeting point?
Yeah. Like, is there something like, this dude's phone's gonna die? He's a dude. There's like, oh, okay, he wandered off. He'll be fine until he's calling and being like, my phone is on 5%. I'm lost. Like in those cases too. Like, whatever happened? Like, did anybody try to call the person? And if they did
I
ever
think they
reach
did.
them,
So, okay,
were they just too
we're
fucked
gonna
up to answer?
so we're gonna go to the first guy I believe uh should be on the victim list, and his name is Martin Gutierrez.
Mhm.
Okay, that was in 11/26/2018. Okay, he was 25 and he was found off of Riverside Drive, and he went missing right around Rainy Street. He was, I think he went out to eat with his brother and his girlfriend, if I remember correctly. And then he met up with some friends on Rainy, went to a bar, couple bars, and then they said that by the last bar, all of a sudden he started acting differently. He was very intoxicated, and that he wanted to go home. And he had been seen on surveillance. Somebody, he was looking at his phone like he was texting somebody, and that was the last time they saw him. And then, unfortunately, like I said, a week later, he was found. But what I find interesting with him and also another person on this list is that he was found and he had an abrasion on the back of his head. There was
Mm.
bruising on his body, and
Like, clearly he had been attacked
to me, I think
physically.
to me, I feel like, yeah, you can draw the conclusion that somebody hit him over the head and he fell over into the water. To me, logically, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's another guy, the same thing.
Mm.
He also had a contusion in the back of his head, and he was around the same age. I'm thinking he was also 25. Hold on, let me see. I think it's Christopher Gutierrez. he had a bruise on the lower part of his head, and he was a proficient swimmer. And I understand what everybody's going to say. If you're drunk, you don't necessarily know how to swim. But guess what? If you're drugged, you definitely don't know how to swim.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
you're like, I can't feel my arms. Yeah, it's
Right.
literally
You're not going to do that. And going back to Brandon's story, he
couldn't walk down the stairs.
no. So
Just fell down the
if
stairs.
he can't walk down the stairs, who's
How's he gonna swim?
you're not going to.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And yes, he did have alcohol in the system and he was last seen at a bar, but I just feel like those two accounts are very similar in the fact that they're the same age, same thing. They were at a bar and then they were found with a contusion on the back of their head. I think
Exactly. Yeah.
so to say that there's no connection,
And they're around the same age, and they're
right?
men, and they're
Yes.
Hispanic. And
Yeah.
that was one of
And
the
they're
theories
both
too.
last name is the same, isn't it?
Yeah. Like
Yes.
it's like, does he have a type? Does he or she?
Yeah, that's another thing we were talking about.
Because like, all the fingers have been pointing to like it's
A
a
guy,
man, but now we're kind of like, well, why couldn't it be a
a female.
woman?
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel that like my whole thing was like saying about like targeting people based off of like dating apps or whatever, because
Oh
on a
yeah.
lot of dating apps you can see who's in your area. Like you'll just, it goes off your location, then it gives you a list of all these dudes that are also using the app, and that means they're, within what, like a 10-20 mile radius of you. If you live or if you're just hanging out somewhere around Rainy Street, you just have like a whole new list of victims to, try
Unfortunately.
to go and target, because, like the similarities between all these people, somebody has a type, somebody is like actively, I feel like actively looking for these people. And now the way technology is, it's so easy to do. Like you can just quickly find somebody's location, because most of us have our locations on. If you're using GPS, your location is being tracked at all times. So like wherever you're walking, whatever you're doing, somebody could be quote unquote stalking you, but maybe somebody just randomly scrolling through, swipe left, swipe right, whatever. Because you said that one dude was texting, like maybe he was texting to meet up with somebody. You never
Well,
know. Like,
they thought that he was texting his girlfriend. So he did have a girlfriend.
okay.
So I don't think he would have been on the app. And another gentleman, I think he was in his 50s, was last seen at a barbecue place. He was married, had kids.
Mhm.
So I don't know about the whole app thing, but he was also found, I think his name, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look for his face. Clifton Axtell. He was 40. I apologize. He was found near West Riverside Drive, and yes, he was last seen at Stubbs, and couldn't that one they couldn't determine death. Unfortunately, he was a
No.
40-year-old. As of whenever I got this
But Stubbs is
information.
also a barbecue place as well as a concert venue.
Okay,
And it
okay.
has a bar inside of it too.
Hmm.
I feel like we've gone to a concert at Stubbs.
Have we?
We
Okay.
probably have. It's an outdoor venue. Like you can get like it's open during the day, for barbecue, but then they also have like a whole stage set up outside. So they'd have shows there. Like I know I saw Panic at the Disco there like twice.
Oh, okay.
I've seen quite a few shows
How close
there.
is that to Rainy Street? Like, is it
I
on
mean,
Rainy Street?
it's off of Red River, so I mean, if you want to walk, it's not that far. It's
That's
just
not
like
that
the
far.
other end, pretty much.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so it's not, you can walk from Stubbs down to Rainy Street. So yeah, like it depends on when he was there. If he was there during the daytime, then
I
he probably
think
was eating barbecue. If he was there during the evening, it was probably barbecue and concert. But yeah, they do have a bar there.
okay.
So you can get liquor, you can get beer, like as long as it's open, if there's a concert or if it's just, during the day to get food. So
So
that could have been, a contributing factor too.
I just don't understand how all these people, so certain things that we always I tell my kids, stay in a group,
Mm.
stay together. These people were in groups
Yeah.
and they just walked away.
Yeah.
Like this guy, excuse me, Jonathan Honey, was in 2023. He was found on Rainy Street. He left his friends at the bar to find food
Mm.
off from a food truck,
Okay.
and then I think someone actually saw him fall in.
Oh,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's another one.
yeah. 'Cause, yeah, there's, like, some of these, it seems like there have been some type of witness to.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, "Oh, he was throwing up," and that's another thing too, it's like, people just tend to write off people that are just like, "Oh, they're just drunk, they're throwing up," like, it's so
Yeah.
normal,
Well, because it's Austin and the vibe there, there's a lot
Mhm.
of college kids there, there's a
You're
lot of
stepping over
people.
what we call sidewalk flowers. Have you heard that term?
No! What are s
Okay.
okay, for everybody that doesn't live in Austin, what is a
It's not
sidewalk
even an
flower?
Austin term. I actually learned, well, I guess it could be. I learned that term because one of my friends who I think he used to live in Thailand or something,
Okay,
and he was saying like, there was like some area where, where all the younger people were going, but people were getting like really drunk, and they would be like, "Oh, look out for sidewalk flowers," and he was like, "What?" Like, because he wasn't, from there. He was like a teacher there. He was like an English teacher, and
okay.
he was like, "What the hell, sidewalk flowers?" And they're like, "Oh, the puke on the sidewalk." So yeah, it would just happen like so often. It's like, "Oh, here's a pile. Oh, here's a
Oh,
pile." Dodge that. Watch out for
is
that.
that the
Sixth
Austin's
Street
not.
be like that sometimes, and then when they bring in the cops, you got to watch out for the
Oh,
horse doo doo.
that's
So
true,
yeah,
that's true.
like we
I've
have
seen that.
normalized now. It's like, oh, somebody throwing up, sitting on the curb, just bleh. I've seen it, dude. Like,
So, like, they've become numb to it, basically,
yeah,
because
like
it's just a normal thing.
like one time, me and my friend had to help this girl because she had gotten left by her friends, and she
Stop
was
doing
just
that.
passed out.
Why do you do that?
We ended up taking her home. Like, we were trying to keep her coherent and stuff, but we gave her a ride. And I don't know what happened to her friends. I mean, we made sure she got home to her apartment safe. But, it's still like messed up. Like, this could have ended very badly for her. And that
Especially
was on 6th Street. She was just kind of like, it looked like she had thrown up, and then she just kind of was just like sitting there leaning against a building, just like fucked up. So we were like, "Are you okay? Like,
I
where are
actually have
your
a story about that, but we
friends?"
won't
And
call out the people.
uh,
Yeah, yeah. That happened to me and David back in the day. He was really, really drunk, and
y'all
the
left him,
people
or somebody
no,
left him?
the people we were with left us, and somebody had to come and get us because they weren't
Oh,
answering their phones, and he was very messed up, and all these people kept coming up to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know you," and we were young.
yeah.
So don't do that. Why would you do that? Don't do that. If you go with somebody, you and I hate to be like the little mom and be like, "Oh my god." But
But yeah,
yes,
and it's just rude, especially if you drove. I'm just saying. Like, most of the time, that's why I like being the driver because I'm not getting fucking left. But I'm also like not trying to leave anybody. Like, if I've left you, that's because you wanted to be left, or shit got to a point where
heated.
we needed to, separate because we're about to box. And that's a whole different situation. And it doesn't always happen like that. Like lately, I haven't fought anybody, but
I like
you
how you
know,
look down, you were like,
lately,
"Lately." I
like
think
I haven't fought anybody. I haven't had to deal with that type of shit.
well, I think also we're a lot more mature and we haven't had to deal with
Drama.
yes, thank you.
But like also, I think it's just the people that you hang around
Yes,
with.
exactly.
Like you
It's
have
the
to.
company you
That's another thing.
keep.
You have to hang out with people who are like actually your friends, because
Yeah,
a lot of
know your
times
friends.
know who your friends are,
And
because
that's hard.
yeah. Oh, trust me, there are so many people that have had to like kick out of the friend group because they didn't know how
I'm
to
still
act.
here.
Exactly. And then there's people that do. So it's just, you got to find, how they say, find your tribe. There
Yeah.
you go. Find people that you would not want to leave downtown. Like, you are genuinely concerned, no matter how fucked up or belligerent or crazy
You've
they get.
never left me.
You
I've
are
never left
really,
you.
exactly. It's like you're
Huh.
genuinely concerned about them getting home. They
Yes.
could be puking in your back seat, but you are still going to get them home, and somebody's going to need to clean that puke up.
Then
So
the
yeah,
next day.
the next day or later on that night. But you know, things happen. So that's what I think it is too. Like, I don't know. So that it I know this is like completely off subject. We're like going
A little bit of a
train of thought
tangent.
has
Yeah, a little bit, but
derailed.
it's okay.
But going back to this, because it's like, they left their friends, and a lot of these people, their friends are the ones that put out the missing person report. Because that one
Yes,
guy that you're talking
you're
about, I
right.
do remember that making the news, and he was missing for like some days because he was here visiting, and I think it was his sister or somebody. It was a relative that he was with that night too, and she was the
Mm,
one that kind of put the information out there, like if
I
anybody
don't
can
know.
find my brother. Like there's a billboard. I don't know if it's still there, but it had like this dude's name, picture, and everything, like who had been missing,
Right.
and I forgot what the date on it was, but it was like a $50,000 reward to find this person.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and I don't know if that person ever got found. I don't know what happened, but I think like, the date on it was like a year or something.
Mm,
And then like where we went to. It was an HEB that we went to. Oh, it's the one off the military.
uh-huh.
Have you seen that picture of that lady that's been missing for like
The
20
grandma.
years? Yes, that one. I was like,
It makes me sad every time I hear about that one.
yeah,
It
that
freaks me
is
out.
still up there. And I'm just like, because there are people that just go missing and they're just never found.
Well, luckily these people have been found.
Yeah, but
So,
it's like it still kind of takes a while or whatever. And that's why I'm
yeah,
just like, did somebody just designate this particular lake as a dumping ground?
that's a good point.
Like, why is this like the best solution? Like, I mean, I get it.
It's
It's a
Austin.
lake. I mean, there's other bodies of water, but I
Okay,
mean,
so here's because
reminds me
this
of
is
like a
something kind of what I wanted to ask you, but we haven't been able to get together. Is you've talked about how there's a big, huge trail right there,
mhm,
right? How nature, like somebody, like let's just say homeless or a transient or somebody that is, living in the woods maybe, or just is very comfortable there,
yeah.
sees these people, they're by themselves, and sees that they have already been roofied
Mm.
and takes advantage of the situation. Is that something that they could have done and gotten away in the woods and not being seen? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's another thing I was thinking about too.
Okay.
That does bring up another good, because Austin's increasing homeless issue. I mean, everybody's like, it's getting so bad. It's like it's always kind of been like that because that's the thing too. The difference between here, like San
San
Antonio
Antonio,
and Austin, it's like there's a certain area of San Antonio where all the homeless congregate. In
downtown.
Austin, it's just literally all over downtown. So it's kind of, because that's just their, central hub. Because remember, there's that homeless shelter
Right.
downtown,
Yeah.
like, and a lot of people just hang out in that area or roam around. But yeah, that could be another reason why this person wasn't found because it's like there's so many people that do live out in the woods. Like, I know people that do that shit. You can camp out. There's so many trails, so many. Like, there was this group on Facebook. I don't know if it's there anymore, but it was like they would ask, like, does whatever the fuck have water? Because it would be like so dry and stuff here. Because you want to go through this trail to get to the water, but you got to walk kind of far, and so it was a group about that. And then it became like people were reporting like, no, don't even go down this trail because there's like a whole homeless camp there, and so people were like taking pictures, and then of course people on one side are like, what the fuck, they need to get kicked out, and the other side is like, well, they don't have anywhere to go, so leave them alone. So yeah, that was like a whole thing, and I was like, yeah, there's like whole homeless villages. What's his name? Brandon calls them shanty towns. He's like, yeah, and there's like a shanty town under this bridge. Like, yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, and also because it's hot. You
Yes.
need to
You
be
need
near a
shade.
water
Source.
source,
Yes.
and you need shade, and
Yes.
or else you will just like overheat and
Perish.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's the thing. It's like some people they weren't even robbed or anything because I would
They
feel
weren't.
like
They weren't robbed.
if you did that, I would understand. Like, okay, you see this person, it's an easy victim. Pick their pockets. Kill them, pick their pockets. But
I don't think it's for that though. I think
yeah,
it's
this
a
person just likes killing people.
yeah,
That's what I think
there's
it is. Like a true
definite
psychopath.
yeah, yeah, there's definitely something wrong with this person's head,
Mhm.
and something triggers them. I don't know if it's the way they walk or the way they cut their hair. I don't know. It could
Yeah.
be anything that sets somebody off, really.
Because, like, you notice that, like, a lot of serial killers, did have a type.
Right.
They had a certain type of victim that they liked or whatever. I don't know. It is weird, like, for us to think about, because it's like, we
Not
wouldn't just
normal
go
for
on a
us.
killing spree, and
Right.
we wouldn't target a specific type of person. We wouldn't, like, if I was a
Everybody has a
killer.
type, though.
Yeah,
So let's look at it, like, from that point of view, like, in a sexual way.
yeah,
Like, everyone has a type. I kinda have a
that's
thing
true.
for guys in uniform.
That's you. See, I have a thing for dudes with lots of hair.
Yeah,
Everything. Your
yeah.
face,
I'm not into hairy guys, sorry.
long hair, everything. A lot of hair.
I'm
But
not into.
yeah, everybody has a type. I mean, I don't know if I
Yes.
go around killing long haired dudes, but if
No,
that's what did it for me, then I guess
wouldn't be
so.
killing people in uniform.
Yeah, like, I don't know. But that's the other option too that you were saying too, that it might be somebody
Yes.
in uniform.
Oh, yes, okay, so there is a theory, we're not gonna get all crazy, but because I like guys in uniform.
We know.
Um,
It's
but
okay.
yeah, um, there was a theory that the reason why Austin PD is keeps kinda covering it up is because it's a known police officer,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
And they have
Do better
access
if
to,
you are.
yeah, it's like, do better with your police force. Because I feel like, at first, like, okay, the first couple of deaths, sure,
Yeah,
somebody fell in, accidental drowning, etc. Because this isn't even water that you normally swim in. Like, we have to put
that's a
that
good
out there
that's a
too.
good point.
It's
You're
like
not even
people are
allowed to swim in there.
kayaking in it, they got their boats in it, but they don't even want you to put your dogs in it because that weird algae stuff was
Yeah,
found in there and people's dogs were dying and
yeah,
stuff. So it's like, yeah, you're not
it's
supposed to be
not safe.
swimming in that. So, and like, that's a whole nother thing. So it's not like, oh, this is just a recreational facility, like where people just swim in it all the time. No, we're not doing that. So that means that, people kind of know,
To stay clear.
yeah, but also like they know that nobody's really going to be there after a certain time, like, like late
Oh,
at night. Cause I mean, who's really out there? Like,
because yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, like
Wait,
who are
what
your witnesses going to be?
I don't understand,
It's
because
not they
so
have yachts out there that just constantly cruise, or they just are docked there at the
yeah,
bay,
but what
you know?
that's the thing I don't understand. Like most parks that I've ever been to that have water, they close. There's something
Yeah.
physically closing them so you cannot go in there.
Mm-mm. I mean, I think there is, like, like little, gates or
That
whatever.
you can,
But if
like,
you're
climb over.
walking, yeah, you
Yeah.
just climb over them. And I
Yeah.
think they don't want to like gate it off because it is like, it's a natural water source. Like, you don't
It's
want to
not
just start putting
natural.
up all unnatural. But you know what I'm
It's
saying? Like, it
man-made.
adds
Yeah.
like a landscape
No, I
factor.
know. And it goes back to tourism. That's
Mhm.
another theory on why they keep saying it's, an accidental drowning because they don't wanna, um, tourists to be scared to go there.
Exactly. Because I mean, a lot of Texas is thriving because of tourism. San Antonio is one of those places. Like, if
Yeah.
it wasn't for all the, things to do, like, you
What is
know,
there to do? We're not gonna go on a tangent, sorry.
there's lots
There's
of
not a
stuff to
lot of
do.
stuff to do in San Antonio.
I mean, we have teams, we have theme parks, we
What
have like
teams?
activities. I mean, I don't know. We've got
I
we've got baseball and basketball.
Okay, listen. San Antonio. This is what
What
I
team
need.
does Austin have
Hold
besides
on.
college football? Like, we don't
What
even have an NFL team.
I personally need a professional baseball team. Okay. I need a professional football team. We have the Spurs. Okay, thank you. And yes, we have the Missions, but that's not the same. So, San Antonio,
Weren't we
listen,
supposed to have a football team?
professional,
That didn't work out.
yes, professional baseball and professional football. I don't know who needs to make that
Baseball would
happen,
be
but
a
I
lot
need you to make that
easier.
happen.
I feel like
Okay.
baseball would definitely be a lot easier just because
Really?
aren't the Missions getting a new stadium now?
They are, but I want a professional team. Like,
But yeah,
okay,
we used to have a hockey team. Remember that shit?
yeah,
I don't know what
but
happened with that, but that was
they
a
closed
professional.
actually
Yeah,
soon, actually not that long ago. Me and Jimmy went to a game.
and we used to have a WNBA team, and we don't
We
anymore.
did. Do we not have
Because
that
now
anymore?
WNBA is all popular and shit. No, we don't. Because I looked it up. Like,
Aw,
with them doing so good in the Olympics and everything,
yeah.
like, I was like, oh, WNBA games are popping. I was like, let's see if we still have, our team. Maybe I can go to Spain. Fuck no, we
Okay,
don't.
we're gonna go
So,
back on.
sorry,
That
that's
was
a whole
my
nother
fault.
thing.
That was
Sorry,
my fault
tangent.
because I'm a
Yes,
little
tourism is like big, and people also move to Austin because they feel that it's safe. Like, one of my friends from Chicago, when he was here visiting for South by Southwest, he straight up said, he was like, it's crazy that you guys can just have this for like 9 days, and you're not worried about like your whole murder rate going up, because so many
well.
people
That
in
is
the city.
Chicago,
Yes, that's what he
so that's
said.
a
He
little
was
bit
like, in
different.
Chicago, he's like, day one of South by Southwest, there would have been like 13 murders, 14
Oh,
stabbings, a few drive-bys, like,
good
because it is
lord.
Chicago. Like, they have Lollapalooza there, and, I'm sure shit gets rowdy for those 3 days of that festival.
That's
But
sad. No, we don't
because
have
people like to
that, but
target tourists and things like that. So that's why I was like, people come here because they do feel safe. They do feel perfectly fine with walking around late night drunk and having the freedom to do all this, because I mean, how many people do we see doing that all the time?
all the
Like, people
time.
aren't like
Nyosa.
seriously, yeah, people aren't seriously paranoid, in some cities, like, you're like, no, at night you don't want to be out. Like,
Mm-mm.
in Austin, it's like, yeah, we're gonna walk to the
It's a
Capitol
normal
and
thing.
we're gonna walk all the way to radio. Yeah, like, everybody's
Or we're
walking
gonna
all over.
go walk to this restaurant that's
We're gonna
3 miles
ride those
away.
little electric
Why?
bikes.
Yeah.
Those things are cool. I like riding the electric bikes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they're really fun. Or the scooters and
Yeah.
stuff. But I
They
mean,
have those downtown too
Austin
here in San
thrives
Antonio.
on tourism, and then the fact that companies are bringing their businesses there.
Especially techs,
Yeah,
ITs.
especially, yeah.
Yes.
So that's another thing. They don't want it to be like, oh my god, this place has a serial killer, and like, it's now unsafe.
So
Like, they're trying to keep it safe and
right.
cover this
Absolutely.
up, but now it's too big of a thing, and there's too many theories where it's no longer, like, you can't cover it up.
Okay, I would like to touch on the fact that we were thinking it could also be a female.
Mhm.
Okay, so what we talked about was the fact that majority of the serial killers, I want to say in the United States,
Mhm.
are male.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we don't have female serial killers. So whenever we discuss serial killers, it's almost always men. Sorry, guys. But
Just
in this case,
statistics.
yeah, in this case, who's to say it's a guy? It
Yeah.
could easily be a really cute chick that lures these guys away from their group.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, we went into the psychology of this and the fact that it could be that she is trying to get back at somebody in her life that wronged her or hurt her, maybe physically or
She also has
yes,
it.
essayed,
Yeah.
and she's unable to deal with this, and for some reason, this is how she deals with it. She gets her rage out against that person, but on
Yeah.
other people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that theory,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah. I mean, that is logical conclusion to come to
right.
also. So I
Let's
don't know.
see, what other ones did we
More other
have?
theories. I know we had so many,
We really did.
because there are whole groups about it.
Oh, okay. We said the male homosexual unaccepting his sexuality, people that he's actually attracted to,
Yeah.
and then gets angry with himself, and unfortunately, things lead to.
Yeah. Because once again, you're drugging somebody. You really
Oh,
don't want them to resist whatever you're
supposed to talk about. So, what
accidents.
is accidental death, and what does it mean? Okay, so according to the National Association of Medical Examiners, manner of death classification of 2002, no
Mhm.
20s, guys. I know y'all are babies. No, 2002. Accident implies when an injury or poisoning causes death and there is little or no evidence that the injury or poisoning occurred with intent to harm or cause death. In essence, the fatal outcome was unintentional. Okay, and there's one more. Harris County Institute of Forensic Science defines it as there is little or no evidence that the injury or poisoning occurred with intent to harm or cause death, which basically says the same thing, right?
Mhm.
In essence, the fatal outcome was unintentional. Some examples, so this is like kind of blew my mind. It makes sense, but accidental overdose, falls, and motor vehicle accidents.
But that's why it's called an
Accident,
accident.
I know. So in 2022, now we're back in the the now. Um, in Austin, you want to read that?
Okay, so according to CBS Austin, accidental drug overdose in Austin for 2022 was 417, and it went up by 69% in
So, no,
2003. Huh?
not percent, but
Oh,
69,
oh, okay. So it's like 417, and then it went up by 69 in 2023. So it's like at
480 to 6.
486.
Right.
So that's a lot of drug overdoses, though.
Yes.
But then it's like, at the same time, like accidental, like with the whole fentanyl
Yes.
situation, like that was a lot of, accidental death, so that is considered an accident too. Like anything, honestly, could be an accident, but it's just, to me, it just sounds lazy to just consider everything an accident. Like, oh, he drowned, he accidentally drowned. It's like, maybe if you dug deeper into this,
You'd find
because
out a little bit more.
yeah, and I think like a lot of these, and maybe they may not all be connected, but I feel like a large majority of them are,
Right.
and this should be further investigated. And I just feel that like they're just not
Call to
taking it
action,
serious.
you guys. Come on, do better.
Yeah,
Okay,
seriously,
so
do better.
what I was trying to get at is in 2023, they have a graph of the medical examiner's manner of death and what they reported, and 46% of deaths in Austin were deemed accidental. But also we get into motor vehicles. That's the part that got me. I did not, and yes, I know.
It's called an
It's
accident.
called an accident, duh, Jessica. I know.
Yeah,
But for some reason when I was looking at that, I was like, that is insane. Why is there so many? That's almost half.
because 35. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
amount of accidents that do happen in Austin on just
Absolutely.
35 in
Yes.
general, like
Because it's an
it's like one a
interstate.
day,
Yeah.
and some of those do result in death.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Sometimes, they're like, especially with a lot of 18 wheelers, because we've had a lot of issues with that 18 wheelers rolling
Sorry,
over
guys.
18 wheelers, you know, crashing into poles that ultimately fell across the freeway. There's a lot of that's a real thing. Things caught on fire. I think somebody was stuck in one because there was a fire in an 18 wheeler that they had to put out, but they were like parked off to the side. Other things caught on fire. Yeah, it was a whole thing. 35 was closed down for like so many hours. Like people had to exit because I knew people that were like in that accident, and they were like, "Oh, so that's what happened, and that's why we were stuck
Oh.
in the same place for 4 hours." Like I've been seriously late for work because of that. I was just like, "Look, you just look at the news and see what happened. Yeah, that happened. That's why I'm late now. Sorry." But
Okay.
yeah, it's crazy because like 50%, like half of the people in Austin are dying because of some type of accident, whether it be a murder or a car accident
An
or something,
accidental overdose
or yeah, an
or
accidental overdose.
yeah. So that obviously points to the fact that, again, just as a recap, based on Austin's statistics, there is definitely issues with drugs, obviously,
Yeah,
right? Because it's Austin, it's a party town, and there's a lot of tourists. So some of those things go hand in hand,
yeah,
unfortunately.
all of it mixes, and sometimes not in the best way.
I think as a parent, what I would kind of try to focus on, and I am trying to focus on because my son's just now getting to the age where he can really go out with friends, is
Yeah,
teaching our sons and our brothers, cousins, whatever, how to go out
yeah,
and what the actual dangers are. And they have this complex in their head. They're like, oh, no, no one will mess with me. I'm huge.
yeah,
Well, if you
exactly.
get roofied, sweetheart, guess what? You're not so huge. Okay.
Like anybody can become a victim
Yes.
unknowingly.
Yes. Yes. So don't. go out there with the mindset of being scared. That's not what I want. But I do need you to be prepared. Like, go out with a plan. Be like, listen, okay, we have 5 guys.
Yeah.
When we leave tonight, we will have 5 guys.
We'll have 5 guys.
Okay. And when we come home, everybody, make sure you have a bucket underneath them or something so they can puke and not
It's like, look out for
suffocate.
your friends. Just because
Yes.
they're dudes and the whole masculinity thing, like, look,
And ladies,
this is a
you
lesson.
know already, right? So teach your guy friends that people don't care if you're a guy and you're huge. They'll just roofie you, and then all of a sudden you're just as small as that girl. Okay.
Exactly.
So do better. Let's teach our
Everybody needs
kids.
to do better.
Yeah.
But so does, law enforcement investigators. Like, this needs
Yeah.
to be investigated. This needs to be something. Because it's like, when was the most recent one? Wasn't it in June?
In July.
July.
But we don't have any
August.
information. Like, I keep looking, and if you know anything about the more recent ones, it keeps saying it's an unidentified person or why can't I say that word?
Unidentified.
Thank you. Male or female. So, if you guys know any more information on that, go ahead and leave it in the comments. And for our next video,
Okay.
we're gonna go back to our music, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this kind of ties in with music too, because
Yeah,
that's like Austin's selling point. It's like, oh, we are the
that's
live
true.
music capital of the world.
That is true.
So that's like a big thing, it's like the big marketing push is like, hey, there's always music. And they're not wrong, they added the Moody, and I swear to God, every 2 to 3 business days there's a concert there. So
No wonder you loved it there.
yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, there was always stuff to do, even if it was just concerts. But it's like, that's what Austin's, tourism, they're promoting this. They want you to be able to come here because I know it costs a bunch of money to build, some of these
Oh,
venues. Oh,
what
she woke
happened?
up. She's like, I don't know. Making myself down.
Okay.
Calm down. I
So
guess we're gonna wrap it up. Our
right.
next one, we're gonna talk about music and stuff. And
Yeah, we will. We'll go back to that.
We can bring some friends in or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe Lisa, you're
Yeah,
watching.
Lisa, if you're watching this.
Baby girl, you could be sitting right here instead of the dog.
Exactly. Or you could bring your dog, she's got some dogs.
Yeah, she does. She's a heavy person on our comments, in our comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. And
Thank
2
you.
other people also.
Kim and Misty.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys, for your contribution.
Yeah, we love it.
Support.
Yeah, so keep them coming. Love the likes, and if you guys would click that bell up there, and you'll get notification. Yeah, and subscribe, and also we are on Facebook and Instagram. So if you want to talk to us between our videos, you can do that, and we'll see you next time. Okay.
I'm Natty Cupcakes.
And I'm Jessica, and we are
the Would-Be Podcast.
Really? In my ear? No. Okay, let's try that again.
So, hey, girl.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm Natty Cupcakes.
And I'm Jessica. And we are
the
Would-Be Podcasters. I fucked that up.
With Luna, guest star.
Yeah. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Hi, I'm Natty Cupcakes.
And I am Jessica. And we are the Would-Be Podcasters.